Hey, what's going on, guys? I'm here with another update slash speculation video on the upcoming random booster, which is B95 Random Booster Volume 8 Shelter Regulus 5-star Tower. So this is an upcoming random booster that will be released on October 21st, so just about 3 weeks away. And in this video, we'll be discussing the entire random booster as well as my thoughts on the prize Beyblade and whether I'll get it or not. So, I guess I'm going to cover the contents of the random booster first, and I actually have a list right here. I'm going to pull it up on my phone because I don't know off the top of my head. So, this random booster will contain the prize Beyblade, Shelter Regulus of course, as well as Alter Chronos, Revolve Tower, Killer Death Scyther, Quarter Loop, Blaze Ragnarok, Triple Revolve, Jaeger Yggdrasil, 8 Meteor Quake, Quad Quetzalcoatl, 4-star Flugel, Dragoon S, 5 Meteor Loop, Trigger S, 4V Hunter. So just judging by the contents of this random booster, it is a relatively weak selection, and I say weak because there's not a lot of rare parts or just competitively viable parts in this set. Personally, I think it's one of the worst random boosters we've had so far. Really, the prize Beyblade just justifies the entire set, if you ask me at least. So I'm going to go over each of these boosters one by one, and I'm going to start off with the Alter Chronos. So it does come in a really nice red clear color. You can see it on camera right now. And honestly, Alter Chronos is a really good layer. It's really good for defense as well as stamina, and it's just really hard to burst. So on top of being a nice recolor, it is also a useful layer. Now the parts it will come with are Ring and Tower. Ring is actually kind of a hard disc to find right now. Tower is also the prize driver, so if you don't get the prize Beyblade, if you get at least Alter Chronos, you could still get one of the parts. And I will be talking about Tower with Shelter Regulus, so that will be later in this video. Next, we have Killer Death Scyther, Quarter Loop. I think this is also one of my favorites in this set just because of the recolor of Killer Death Scyther. It is a nice, clear white with a purple scythe actually. So the scythe is purple whereas the entire black plastic is white. So that just looks really nice. And then the God chip is actually red. It's a really nice combination of colors. I know Killer Death Scyther isn't actually that useful, but it's still a really beautiful layer, especially in this colorway. So one of my favorites, and it does come with some alright parts, so that being Quarter and Loop. The parts are alright, just not that good. Anyway, we also have Blaze Ragnarok, Triple Revolve. I just have to say that I think we've had enough Blaze Ragnarok. I feel like it's been released a lot of times, but for some reason they decided to put it in this set, which I still can't understand. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a beautiful layer, but we have seen it multiple times in the past. And it also comes with Triple and Revolve. Triple isn't a useful disc, and it's kind of easy to get with Obelisk Odin. If you don't already have that release, even Hasbro has released it, so it's pretty easy to get right now. Meanwhile, Revolve is a really good part to get, but my only question about that was, why release it in this random booster if it's already been released in the Zillion or Galaxy Zeus set? So I don't know. I mean, it is nice that they released it again though, because Revolve hasn't had a lot of releases in the past. And then we have probably one of the weirdest Beyblades in this set, and that is Jaeger Yggdrasil, 8 Meteor Quake. So the layer isn't that good. I mean, it was a prize Beyblade at some point, but it's been released at least 2 other times, I think. It is a nice clear blue recolor though, so it's alright. And then it does come with Meteor, which is also a really good frame, if you didn't know. One of the heavier frames. And if I could just pull this up right now, that'd be really nice. So yeah, it's 8 Meteor. 8 is a pretty good disc, by the way, it's heavier. One of the heavier discs. And a Meteor is pretty good. But then you get Quake. And I guess if you're a fan of Quake, it's a good way to get it. But it's not a useful driver, it's just a for fun driver, I guess. So if you get it, I guess that's a good thing for you, if you are a fan of Quake. And then next, we have probably the worst pull in this set, and that is Quad Quetzalcoatl 4-star Flugel. Now, Quad Quetzalcoatl comes in a kind of clear orange color. I'm just not a fan of it because it's already been released a few times, and it's not a relatively useful layer. I really think that a different dual layer could have taken up its spot, like possibly Zillion Zeus and Lost Longinus, but no, Takatomi added it in. I think really just as filler because they don't want to get us good parts right now. Yeah, not a fan of Q2. I mean, I like the original color, and it was an anime Beyblade, so if you haven't gotten it, this is a good way to get it. It does also come with 4 star. 4 is a pretty good disc, but it's also kind of easy to come by. Star is a relatively rare frame. It's only been released a few other times in the past, so just a good way to get it. But then you get Flugel, which is just a meh driver. It's not relatively useful for anything as well. So just overall, the entire Beyblade really has no reason to get it because all the parts are pretty easy to get. And then next, we have the 2 special releases in this set, or I think they're pretty special, and that being Dragoon S 5 Meteor Loop and Jigger S 4V Hunter. So Dragoon S is pretty nice. It comes in a nice clear black recolor with some special stickers. I guess this is a way to get it if you didn't get it with the original release, but I mean, I'd still take the original release any day. However, that's bound to get rare at some point, so this is just a really nice alternative. It does also come in a nice clear black color, and if you didn't know, I'm a huge fan of black recolors, so it's just a really nice way to get it. It also comes with 5 Meteor, so 5. I'm gonna talk about that with Shelter Regulus, but Meteor is also a good frame. It's a heavy frame, and it's 5-sided, and it's just really good for attack, I think. And then you get Loop, which is also kind of a filler driver. I mean, we've seen that in Christ Saiyan, and it's a pretty cool driver with the gimmick, but not relatively useful for anything. And then lastly, we get Jigger S 4V Hunter. Now, I'm a huge fan of Jigger S, and it comes in a nice, clear green recolor. So, on top of that, you get 4 Vortex. 4 is a good disc, as I've said. Vortex is a pretty good frame as well. So then we get the driver, which is Hunter, and it comes in a really nice recolor. It comes in a clear blue plastic with red rubber. So pretty much the standard colorway for rubber tips or rubber drivers. Kind of like that Excalibur scheme of drivers, which is just really nice. If you aren't a fan of the original release of Hunter, this is a nice alternative, especially because the colors are just a lot nicer. And on top of that, you know, just the entire Beyblade is just pretty good in my opinion. So now let's move on to Shelter Regulus. So Shelter Regulus 5-star Tower. It's also abbreviated as 5STW. I'm going to start with the layer. Now, this is by far, in my opinion, one of the top 3 most beautiful god layers up to this day. Like, I've been a fan of many, but this is one of my favorites because if you didn't know, Regulus is based on a constellation of stars, which is a lion. So, kind of gives me that, like, Rock Leone or Fang Leone vibes from it. So it's essentially like a lion god layer, and the color scheme on this is insane. It's like a nice dark blue and dark purple color scheme going on. And honestly, the stickers on this layer really does give it justice as well. The design is top notch. Like, the stickers bring out the design so well. And of course, this layer does have a gimmick of its own. With it being a god layer, it has to have a gimmick, of course. It has plastic on the underside of the layer, which will come out when it's launched, and then once the stamina gets lower, the plastic will push inwards. So it's a pretty neat ability. I'm not sure if it's relatively useful because with more plastic being exposed, that does mean more recoils, so I don't know, but the layer itself looks really nice, and I forgot to mention this earlier, but the god chip is also really nice. I'm a big fan of that emblem that it has, and it's a nice turquoise color, so overall, I have to say the layer in this Beyblade is by far the best part, just because of how cool it looks. Next, we have 5-star. So, 5, I haven't been a fan of it ever since I found out about it. I expected a really nice design, but it's just a really lazy design in my opinion. It really looks a lot like Wing, which I'm not a fan of either. And then you get Star, which is a relatively rare frame because it's only been released 2 other times in the past. I think with a Koro issue, and then with the limited edition Blaze Ragnarok. So it's a nice way to get it. I'm not sure how good it is. I feel like it's really, really similar to Meteor. So I'm gonna guess that there's not much of a difference between them just because the shape is the same. And, you know, they are both 5-sided frames. However, it might be heavier. I'm not sure about that. If it is a heavier frame than Meteor, that'd be a good thing because heavier frames are generally better. And then next we get Tower. Now this is the most gimmicky part about this Beyblade. The gimmick is literally a height change, which is kind of big because up to this day, Beyblade Burst has all been the same height. If you didn't know. I guess Takao Tomy is going to take a step further and make height change a thing. Now I'm not sure if that's going to stay just to this driver, but the fact that there's a height change driver is pretty big, I think, because that will make a lot of more customizations viable. And by that I mean that like having a taller Beyblade versus a lower Beyblade there is definitely an advantage to that. Now the way Tower works is that when it's launched, it's going to be at a normal height, and once its stamina gets lower, the driver will push up and get taller. Now for the tip of Tower itself, it is a semi-flat, so it's pretty good, I guess. I'm not sure how good it is because I've never really used semi-flats in the past, but it is our first official semi-flat. I know we had Blow in the past, but that wasn't an actual semi-flat. This has the true shape of it. If you look at it, you can definitely see that it is a semi-flat. So maybe you might have some use in the stabilizing. I'm not entirely sure, but you know, it's going to be pretty good, I think. But it might also just be too gimmicky. You know, I could be wrong. Overall, I think the best part about this Beyblade is the layer, just how good it looks. And then it is a nice gimmicky Beyblade overall, especially with the driver, and you get a rare frame. If we take a look at the bigger picture here with the entire set, I think it's a relatively weak set, just because of the selection of parts isn't that good. And unfortunately, you know, despite this Beyblade being so nice looking and everything, it's going to be kind of hard to come by. For us people that have to import that, you know, don't live in Japan, we all have to take the choice of either buying a full set or taking our chances in buying random boosters. Now either way, it's going to cost a lot, so that's one downside. Like, it's really frustrating for us that have to get prize Beyblades or that really want them. We either have to buy full sets or pay a lot of money. I mean, you could buy a confirmed prize Beyblade, but that's going to cost you at least 50 to 70 bucks. So it really just comes down to money, which is really unfortunate because I know for a fact that this Beyblade will make an appearance in the anime. And I like to collect Beyblades from the show, so this is definitely a must get for me. And also, it just looks so nice, but like I said, I'll probably have to invest pretty good money into this. So yeah, just the set itself is weak, like I said, but the Beyblade, the prize Beyblade at least, justifies the entire set. You know, there's just not a lot of good parts in it. So I think that's it for my thoughts. I guess some speculation would be like, the layer might have some use for attack. I can see it being somewhat useful, but that all depends on the teeth. Star, it has been released already, and I haven't heard much about it, so it might just be like an ordinary frame. Tower, on the other hand, that could be a game changer. We're still not sure yet, though. That all depends on testings and just combos, if it has any uses. So yeah, that's it for my thoughts. Make sure to let me know what you guys think about this entire set, as well as Shelter Regulus. So comment your thoughts down below. And I guess that's it for this video. I am also going to give credit to the WBO for all of this information, as well as the images. I don't know if I've given them shoutouts recently, but I feel like I've forgotten. So big shout out to WBO, though. I will post a link down below so you guys can go check them out. WBO is a forum for Beyblades, so it's just really nice and informative, and that's pretty much where I get all of my information. And with that being said, I hope you guys like this video, so make sure to smash that like button, comment down below, subscribe, and also hit that notification bell down below. That makes sure that you get notified whenever I upload. So, until next time guys, see ya.